On the topic of things happening right now, I'm not even sure what you're going to say here. What have you watched in the last few days from WWE?
Oh boy, howdy. I saw a little bit of the Smackdown. Would you like me to tell you why I watched a little bit of the Smackdown first, or why I didn't watch any of the Raw first? Which
Oh,
would you like to?
well, I guess I know we'll need another segment soon, but now let's talk about what you saw on SmackDown.
Well, that was in chronological order. This was for this past Friday, and the reason why, again, it's not like there was anything newsworthy. You could have put the written description of this television program on the Pony Express and dropped it off by horse at routes along the way back east, and there was nothing newsworthy. And this is underlying a bigger problem we may talk about. But I mean, Jay Uso got in a big pull apart with Drew McIntyre at the top of the program because, of course, everybody's accusing Drew of whatever the fuck anybody did, hitting Jacob Fatu in the mouth with a baseball bat. I don't know what happened to cause that injury, but so they got problems. And people were talking about Jade Cargill turned heel. She came out and saved Tiffany Stratton and then held her hand up and gave her belt back, did all that stuff, and then just beat the shit out of her all over ringside. And all the officials came out and pulled her off of her. But this is the question, Brian. Do you think, before we go any further, have they modified their expectations for Jade Cargill, who, from all accounts and logic and thought, the way that they had presented was going to be like one of the faces of one of the women's shows of one of the titles or whatever, and now they kind of moved her down and slowed it up, and now let's see how she does as a heel. Eh?
I mean, in some ways, you could say they've gone as far as they can with her as a babyface right now. She traditionally, when she wasn't really trained well and was in AEW, was a heel, and that kind of was the role she excelled at. She hasn't done that at all in WWE. Like I said, where else is she going to go as a babyface? Maybe it's time. She looked good, too.
Well, visually, she's always very presentable. I mean, she washes her hair and brushes her teeth. I'm not talking about that. She looks great, but I'm thinking that they may have realized that maybe they had higher expectations to bring her in as the big baby face, and right away we're gonna give her the rub with Bianca and all the top girls and blah blah blah, and she still can't. And now she's been with them as long as she was with AEW. When you count the fact that I think she only saw them once a week, where she's probably being trained in WWE more often. So I think now it's down to, well, it would be easier as a heel. She gets heat on some baby faces that can sell, make her a big bully. I don't know that she's going to take to this.
Her promos will be better.
That's true. She's got that attitude. But anyway, I think they're trying to course correct now, because maybe she's not going to be, what they thought she was on a babyface side. Did you see?
I'm all for
go
it.
ahead.
I'm all for it. I think she's better as a heel, even though AEW was AEW, and she obviously was very limited in what she was doing in the ring. She was better as a heel character on this show than as Bianca's friend, and then is just upset because Naomi's mad at her. Like, nothing is really. She's lucky she's not, under more than she is right now, because they haven't given her much other than just being kind of number 2 to Bianca. And now you set her up to potentially wrestle babyface Bianca down the road.
Hey, where is Bianca?
I don't know.
Is she hurt? We know where Naomi's been. I wonder what happened to Bianca. Well, Bad time to be Bianca.
It's a. Well, we don't know what time it is to be Bianca, but what else did you watch, Jim?
Well, what time is it? Did you see Ilya? I keep wanting to call him Ilya Kuryakin now because I can't stop. Ilya Dragunov's promo. Did you watch the promo?
I actually did not.
This is where they need the announcers interviewing people. And I don't know why that they abandoned years ago that concept and just went to, I think it was obviously, again, another thing that our friend Shitstain probably pioneered, but where the long solo monologue with the dramatic spotlight of whatever, instead of being a sporting television show and the announcer, the commentator interviewing the fucking athletes. Ilya has great natural likability, chemistry, charisma, the way he moves in his matches and the underdog thing and the feistiness. And being Russian or whatever wherever he's from that passes for Russia, English is a second language, but he sounds about 5 octaves or whatever lower than old Kyle Felcher does over in AEW. But it doesn't flow for him. The point is, when there was an announcer to help guys get over points and details without them having to do a long solo monologue, where the guy could just come in and say certain things that he needed to say that benefited him, but not having to go on a long explanation. Do you see what I'm saying? It made it sound more legit, and it picked up the fucking pace and got the information out. Do you miss those days like I do, Brian?
I've been thinking a lot about it. I thought we would talk about it later on, but we'll do it right now because, we're just talking about Ilya here. We could talk about a bigger issue industry-wide, which are the promos. And for all the talk of like boring old wrestling tropes, maybe the worst and most boring are the tropes of Vince McMahon, which is this format that everyone has adopted. Everyone does. Go out there with a microphone and do your, they do more than a stand-up comedian does. A stand-up comedian's not up there that long for their set sometimes. And they go up there and they recite something and it doesn't sound genuine. And I forget even what it was, but I was thinking about it recently with a feud that's on wrestling right now, where you see face-to-face stuff. And we've seen a bunch of it recently with Adam Page in AEW. We saw the Chris Statlander performance with Tony Storm a few weeks ago. CM Punk and Jey Uso. Like, all these face-to-face things are happening. In what world is it not more effective to have one guy come out there, have an interviewer hold the mic, and give them 3 minutes to flip out about their opponent? Or just, if that's their thing, maybe not everyone's going to scream or yell, but go out there and cut your opponent down in a way that doesn't hurt them, but makes people think, oh my God, I can't wait to hear what that other guy's going to say.
Sell the match, sell the issue, sell the angle.
Everything now is a limp confrontation where there's no reason why death couldn't happen, except two people are standing there deciding not to do it, but they agree they hate each other, and they're going to do it soon. Like, it's just the stupidest thing. And I think, the other problem is who does the interviewing. WWE has good interviewers. The AEW has Shivani and Renee. Renee, who's like out there performing, trying to outperform, actually, in some cases, the wrestlers. And Shivani, who is just the frump in the back of the fucking, standing in the corner.
Of the corner of frumpiness. Well, and see, that's part of it, is that, especially with the younger guys in OVW or any television program that I've hosted over the decades, and there's been so many. But you get with the guy and go, okay, what are we talking about here? And then I come up with, here's my lead-in question. I'm going to come to you with this. You'll say something about that. And then let me ask you this. We got 2 or 3 questions and some ability to go back and forth, and he can get the fucking point out. And I know where he's done and where he wants to get out. And then and back to you guys. that still helps because somebody else is bringing up other information. When this guy has said what he needs to say about Brian, then I, as the announcer, well, what about Jim now? Jim said that, well, Jim can go fuck himself. It's more natural that way. And then on a confrontation, subliminally, the people see the host of the show or the announcer, there's somebody with a tie on that's conducting the interview, that's trying to keep these guys settled down and be professional. And it's there a lot of times that if the announcer, the heel, says something to the baby face is goddamn just, sharp and cuts him to the bone, the announcer can jump in. Now, come on there, Bill, and just put the hand on the shoulder like there's some type of decorum being maintained here. It flows more naturally. Instead of, again, what you said, just guys standing there telling each other how bad they hate each other 15 fucking minutes.
Like, for everyone that complains about the Vince McMahon style of wrestling over the last 25 years.
This is what he did.
This is what he did. And this is what AEW does. This is what Paul Levesque does. This is what TNA does. This is what everyone does. Indies fucking do it. A guy just walks out there. Where did they get the microphone? Just walks out there with a microphone. Hey, they didn't turn this off. I guess I could say whatever I want right now with this really dramatic walk-in.
Hey, here you go, Russo, on your new show that you're booking that's going to be seen by millions. Have some guy walk out with a microphone and then somebody else come in. No, we're not turning it on. Fuck you. You can't talk.
They should have someone walk out with a microphone and just say, I just wanted to return this. I'm sorry. I had this in the back.
This was just sitting there.
I think obviously we're in a different world than we were in the 80s or the 70s. But I think there are specific things that work for professional wrestling on TV that the industry got completely away from because of Vince McMahon's embarrassment about this being the industry. And I think you're not going to have local promos anymore because what's the value in that? But you need the local promo type promo to make you care about Saturday night's main event or the pay-per-view or whatever it is. And they're not doing it. Instead, you have guys coming out there, and I guess maybe because they have to fill up so much time, they are endless speeches. They just talk and talk and talk. And then the only way out of it is someone comes out there to confront them, which is what they do every single week on every single show. This is the most boring trope there is in wrestling right now. And the other problem is, if you gave Ilya Dragunov, as an example, the microphone, could he do it? At any point in his life, as an indie wrestler, in NXT, wherever, was he given a microphone and said, go out there and make people think you really hate this guy? Or was he handed a script? And you want to talk about the boring tropes of Vince McMahon? Get away from the scripts. That was a Vince McMahon thing, and for everyone who wants to talk about Paul Levesque being a different kind of animal, he's doing all the same things Vince did.
I don't know how that if somebody had handed me a script and not like, here's the story written down, come up with a promo out of it, but here is exactly what you have to say, and they would actually stop me and make me do it again if I didn't say that exact thing, which I understand, pre-tapes I understand is a thing that they do, and get mad at you if you didn't say, if it was live and you didn't say it that way. We wouldn't be sitting here now. I don't think anybody would have ever heard of me. Not only could I not say that long of a dissertation word for word exactly like it was written, I don't think it would have been as good as the shit that I came up with for me myself that nobody else could fucking do either. I don't know that I would have made money if I did try to do my promos like Joe LeDuc. Probably wouldn't have worked. So I don't know how they fucking don't have a nervous breakdown trying to remember all that shit.
And it just seems like delivering scripts and delivering written lines for someone to recite, it's a self-defeating thing. Why go there? In AEW, I don't think Tony Khan's scripting Adam Page. I think Adam Page is scripting Adam Page.
No, that's the problem. They're writing it all out and memorizing it for themselves, and it sounds fake too.
Unbelievable. You just don't believe the guy. If you were in a fight and someone started talking to you like that, you would kind of like drop your fighting pose. Like, what is he saying? Why is he saying this? But I think it's an industry-wide problem. I don't know what we could do about it, but it's an industry-wide problem.
Well, we can complain about it, and there you go. But Ilya, I like him. He's a good babyface. He had a match with Malachi Black, who Zelina is, since they're married, is now his evil, spooky manager, and they've got evil, spooky lighting and spooky music. And it's the same guy in the ring. But Ilya, you can't take your eyes off of him. And they had a nice little match, and then it completely came to a halt. Zelina interfered and tripped Ilya, and the referee milked it and then kicked her out of ringside. But as she was leaving, Damian Priest with his music came out. And while all this going, the two guys in the match are just down. And then Damian Priest stares at Malachi Black because he burned his Priest's face last week. And Malachi Black stared at Damian Priest, and he turned right back around when it was time. And Ilya hit him with his forearm finish. Boom, 1, 2, 3. And then Priest got in the ring and beat up Malachi Black and was going to concerto him on the desk, but Zelina saved him and the heels ran off. And that, besides the main event,
and that is why I don't watch SmackDown. That is why I was not persuaded to go back to SmackDown, and nothing against Ilya, but I've been tired of Damian Priest forever. Aleister Black just doesn't do it for me. I haven't checked him out with his wife yet. Maybe that really livens up the act.
Haven't checked him out with his wife? You think they leave the curtains open?
I'm talking about on SmackDown.
Oh.
But, yeah, see, you took it into the gutter for no discernible reason.
No, it wasn't in the gutter. It was in a hotel room off of fucking Dixie Highway. But anyway, besides the main event, as I said, that was pretty much all that there was. But we got Drew McIntyre and Jimmy Uso. And guess what kind of match they had, Brian? Did you see the kind of match they had? No disqualification. Anything goes. It was the same shit as you. I love Drew McIntyre. Again, not the biggest fan of Jimmy's technical work, but the Usos are over. But it's the same shit that everybody does everywhere. They had a regular match a little bit, then they went out and fought in the arena, out amongst the fans. Then they came back to ringside, put a table in the ring, had a little fight on the floor. Drew brought a chair in and beat on Jimmy with a chair. Jimmy made a comeback, beat on Drew with a chair, set up the table and gave Drew a Samoan drop through the table. And then went for a splash, and Drew picked up a chair and beamed him in the head with it, coming off top rope, and hit his kick 1, 2, 3. And so, and then more heat on Jimmy with a chair, and the officials tried to stop it. But guess what? Cody, here comes Cody. And he made a big comeback and got Drew out of there, and then went to help Jimmy, and Drew came back and leveled him with a kick. I could have never predicted something like that happen in a million years. Of course, they're in the main event on Saturday. I know you have to promote these things, but it's a 2-hour show. And every 45 minutes or so, you get 2 minutes of action. And at the end of the thing, somebody's going to run out and fucking get in a fight to go off the air. There are variations of this that were entertaining in wrestling for 100 years. But now that you see almost the same show with the same people on TV every week from every company doing the exact same goddamn thing that they do every fucking week, it just all blurs, doesn't it?
Yeah, again, I don't want to get all fired up again, but I've been thinking a lot about it because it's hard to get the desire to watch these shows. And they just don't. You know, I guess a lot of it may be the length, which is a necessity because that's what they're selling, is all that time. I wonder sometimes, would this be a better show if everything that was on it was in a 1 hour show? Or would it still feel the same? And again, I think a lot of the problems are WWE long-term issues that I've had a problem with for a long time, been vocal about, and people go back and forth over whether they agree or not. I think the way the commentators do commentary is an issue. You never pay attention to them, and it doesn't seem genuine. You want to talk about people who don't seem genuine. The way Michael Cole leads the announce team, it doesn't seem like genuine conversations. It doesn't seem like genuine concern. It seems like acting as announcing. Because that's what it is. His name's not even Michael Cole. He's an actor playing a commentator. But I think the way they're setting up every show, just the long promo, and then as a confrontation, then as a general manager. If there's 4 people there, we got a tag match. If there's 3 people there, we got a 3-way match. If there's a contender, it's the same formula for both shows, just different characters on each show.
And also they've got themselves, and it's a trap now because the people want to cheer and sing, and that just eats up so much fucking time. But at the same time, you don't want to, shut the paying customers down from doing what they want. But part of the reason why they're doing it is because they came up with this shit to help fill some fucking time while they were sitting there watching an endless entrance. And now it's made the entrances longer, but at least they get to participate. But
yeah, like the Seth Rollins entrance. It's great that it happens every time. It's great that the fans are so into the heels music that they just want to keep singing along to it even after it goes off. But he would stand there and feed into it.
Oh, well, no, they're teaching them in the performance center. They're teaching them, because you can see them all doing it now, where they're milking what. They're not milking what's already happening. They're doing the subtle mannerisms and leaving the pauses where they can engender the people to come in and fill in an extra minute for them or whatever. They'll stop and pause at any hint that something's beginning to grow and let it foster. But that's part of the 20 minutes they're all standing there talking to each other. And I don't...
Like even Punk, I'm a big Punk fan. His work on the mic is his strongest work. I've gotten bored with watching Punk the last several weeks. I don't necessarily blame him. I said it last week. I'd love to see a heel turn just because I'd love to see heel promos. But it's also, it's what he does in between the things that matter. And it feels like WWE, that period of time for everyone, in between the matches that matter on the premium live events, it's kind of a weird holding pattern that doesn't even feel as effective as just winning squash matches.
I know, again, they have 2 or 3 hours or whatever, depending on the vehicle that they have to fill and etc. They also have 100 and something fucking wrestlers that you hear names of. And is everybody still in wrestling school in NXT so goddamn shitty that you can't? I'm not saying try to push and feature and get over 20 new different people at the same time. I'm saying take the people that are familiar to the fans and are already over sometimes and just give them a 4-minute fucking match with some other guy just to goddamn keep this shit moving. Just keep it moving along and let them get a nice win once in a while. Instead of, there's 4 matches on a 2-hour show. They all take 20 minutes, and in between, at the beginning and end, is a goddamn 15 or 20-minute promo.
And bad acting in the back. That's another one of these Vince tropes that just doesn't go away. I mean, as much as we haven't complained about the Judgment Day stuff in the back, it's ridiculous.
I skip it all. I skip the backstage stuff in AEW too. Because if it's in the back, it's just more chances at bad acting, and it's not going to be any kind of earth-shaking information.
Everyone always hears the Mid-South wrestling talk because that's always like the perfect example, at least for me, in terms of a 1-hour show, the commentators are serious, and they're talking to you, not at you, and you believe them, and you get a lot of action, even when there's squash matches. They're not going long. And during those matches, you're getting a lot of important information from the commentators who have credibility. And then in between that match and the next match, there's a commercial break, and you get local promos where the baby faces say something, and then in a side studio somewhere we're never really told, the heel says something. Like, all of this is happening, and they fit it all into 1 hour. And you watch those shows, you can't wait to see what's going to happen next week, let alone at the arenas. And you don't have that really right now. You don't have that at all, I don't think, from WWE right now.
Well, and again, that's the problem, is they're making it ridiculous, incredible amounts of money while giving, and they've got stars that are very capable of performing, but now they've made those stars so valuable they don't want them to work any more than necessary because they might get hurt, and they don't have to give people any more than they're giving them now because nobody's complaining about paying the highest ticket prices in ever. But that doesn't change the fact that, especially for those of us who remember how much shit used to be going on in a wrestling program, this shit's like watching paint dry. And it's not to say that the answer, because then again, some people with a simple, superficial, shallow understanding will say, well, they do everything in OVW and he hates that, or in OVW. Let me try that again.
They
do everything. They do everything in AEW and he hates that too. I was looking at an OVW thing on my wall when I said that. He does everything in AEW. He hates that too. Yes, there can be a middle ground between everything and absolutely fuck all of nothing. And when we talk about things always happening on an exciting territory wrestling program, part of it was the actual matches. Like you said, they were moving. Even if it was a competitive match, you still only had 8 or 10 minutes maybe in a 1 hour program, so you were moving. And if it was a squash match, wow, look at that guy doing all that shit to that other guy for 2.5 minutes. And then people were talking for 2 minutes. And it kept moving. That's what we're talking about. Not necessarily a flamethrower and a goddamn Molotov cocktail, all in the same segment kind of moving. There's a difference.
And I brought up the commentators, the way they talk to you or at you. Michael Cole will yell at you the entire broadcast. Bill Watts didn't. And Bill Watts may have been the best ever, so that may not be a fair comparison. But the point's there. Gordon Soley didn't. Lance Russell didn't. Lance Russell, you heard more tones of his voice than any other wrestling commentator, because you get, well, hey, Davey, you get that, and then you get, you get everything. You just get Michael Cole yelling at you, moving his hands constantly, because that's what you're supposed to do on TV, but speaking at you, not to you. And I think that's kind of been the entire generation of WWE commentators. More than a generation, this century. And I think it even affects AEW's commentators, obviously. But I think the commentary is the least effective kind of commentary you could have for a wrestling show.
Well, they at least say a lot of words. But yeah, it takes a long time to watch the program, no matter how long it is. It seems longer. But what do I know? You were about to tell me.
You know a lot, and of course, that's the state of WWE TV. I'm sure we'll have more to say about this. But whether it comes to applying the local promos of the past to some sort of way of using that kind of promo today on TV, it's all about selling tickets. It's all about selling. Let's get rid of the word tickets and focus on selling. And of course, if you have products to sell, if you need some help for your business, if you have a business that just needs a little pick-me-up, a little friend there that can help you, that you can trust, this is going really well, we trust them with our business, and after this description, why wouldn't you trust them with yours? Jim, our friends at Shopify.
That's who you're talking about. I couldn't figure it out there for a minute. Nobody else could either. But folks, that's because Brian garbled that whole thing, but Shopify is it's a word on everybody's tongue. I don't know what's on your tongue, Brian. It sounds like a 10-pound dumbbell. But it's the sound of money-making opportunities. When you hear that, see, that's the thing. When you're sitting there in your house and all of a sudden you hear a vehicle going down the road, cha-ching, cha-ching, like that, that's a money-making opportunity. Run out and talk to the Shopify man in the Shopify truck. It's a white panel van with no windows and Missouri plates.
There's no Shopify truck. There's no Shopify man. But man, what a great deal this is for you to be able to have your business, have a wonderful partner that will help you along the way with no white panel trucks.
Well, I heard they were cruising the neighborhoods because they're spreading the word. See, because that's the thing. Shopify can get the word out. If people hadn't heard about your brand, Shopify can help you find your customers with easy-to-run email and social media campaigns, and they do flyering. They'll send these white panel vans out in the neighborhood, and they'll put flyers in people's mailboxes, or sometimes inside your screen door. Every so often, if there's an attractive young lady in residence, they'll leave flyers inside all of the rooms of the house.
Not the
so
way
you'll
it
know
works.
they've been there.
They won't be there. That's not the way it works.
That's why if you notice underwear missing,
they're not going to steal your underwear. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a panty raid. What this is your chance to raid the wallets of the consumer. Well, I guess that's the wrong way to say it too. What you can do is sell your products safely, securely. Know it's going to get there. Know there's an online platform that's there for you. Shopify.
Yes, they're the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world. And 10% of the e-commerce in the United States. I saw a website the other day with that purple shop pay button on there where they were selling used lingerie on this website. It's a vintage lingerie thing. It's a big business.
It's a big business?
It's a big business.
Listen, I don't know about that, but there are plenty of examples other than that people can use for Shopify.
Yes, because if you've got a product or a service, you want to start a business or a brand, and you need somebody to help you out from the word go, from building your site to maintaining a platform to selling your products. And boy, I'll tell you, these people, as I've mentioned, they've got their finger in everything over at Shopify, and they can get their finger into you if you right now go to Shopify.com, Shopify.com/Cornette, Cornette, Shopify.com/Cornette. My ears are ringing. You can get a $1 a month trial period and start selling. Well, today, if you go and get your, it seems like it'd be hard to just start right now, but that's the line they use. Start selling today. You can sign up today. You can sign up any goddamn time you want to. Hurry. You're already behind. They're waiting on you now. Shopify.com/Cornette, $1 a month trial period. You will see how indispensable they are. And when the flyering crew comes to your neighborhood, you'll know to leave that back window unlocked, or just leave the screen door open.
There will be no
They'll
crews.
take care of the rest.
First of all, lock everything, folks, just in case. And for this specific example,
just lock everything.
No one will be coming to your neighborhood. The only thing that will be coming to your virtual neighborhood will be great deals. And I don't even know if that applies here, but what we're talking about is a great partner for you. Help me.
Well, go again. Shopify.com/Cornette, $1 a month trial period. And you could even get on the flyering layout crew where you lay out some of the flyers that then the road crews and the neighborhood van crews go and spread around the neighborhoods.
Once again, I think we've established this is not how it works, but one last time, Jim, with a professional tone. What is that promo code?
Shopify.com/Cornette.
All right, well, there it is. That's the official end of that. Tagada.
They also have ice cream sandwiches inside the van, but they
don't
got
have
them in
a van.
They got them just in a cooler. There's not a lot of ice in. So you got to get in there quick and get to the bottom, get the ones that are still real frozen.
What are your thoughts on ice cream sandwiches? What are your thoughts on the Chipwich?
Well, I like a good ice cream sandwich every so often. I'm not really in front of them a lot. I don't like to buy them and take them home from the store because they melt on the way and then they're all bleh, and when they refreeze, they've got ice crystals on them. But
How else are you going to
I'm
get
not
them?
sure about. Well, I occasionally go to a location like a fucking ice cream store that would have a nice ice cream sandwich that I would get, or a Dairy Queen or a thing of that nature.
Oh,
You just can't leave them out 15, 20 minutes and expect to get the entire experience. But the cookies and the ice cream, it's hard because then again, I like my ice cream a bit on the soft side, but if you got soft ice cream in between the two cookies, then it just goddamn shoots right out and splooges all over you. And then the cookie's soggy.
you have to eat it before it gets too melted.
Well, yeah, but then it's hard. And I like a cookie microwaved, a nice warm cookie.
Well, yeah, if you microwave
Haven't
the
you heard that
Chipwich-
expression? It warms the cookies of your heart.
Well, I believe Chipwich itself is a soft chocolate chip cookie. Other brands who do knockoff versions use a harder cookie, but I wouldn't microwave that. That's your first problem.
Well, no, I microwave any cookies because then they get even nice and warm. And if
But if
there's
there's ice
chocolate
cream-
chips in them, it gets gooey.
If there's ice cream in between the cookies, you can't microwave it.
Well, I know that's part of the problem.
All right. Well, now that we've established this is a problem,
Stacy makes peanut butter blossoms for me, slightly underdone so that there's no brownness on the bottom. And you put them in the microwave, 3 of them on a plate for about 10 seconds, just as long as for the Hershey Kiss on the top to start. When you put your finger on it at the top, you can smush it a little bit. And there you go.
well, there you go. That was the Chipwich update, folks.